Standing on the rolling hills in the Saar-Moselle Triangle, just east of the ominous Campholz woods, it becomes clear how this feature dominates the surrounding landscape. To the south, downhill, lies the hamlet of Borg, through which the main road runs. In a somewhat northeasterly direction, it goes further uphill to Munzingen, atop a ridge carrying that village's name, Munzingen Ridge. The fields are dotted with small patches of shrubs and trees. These are former German concrete pillboxes, blown up after being captured by 94th Infantry Division troops, early 1945. They were never removed completely, and now, ironically, they serve as a shelter for wildlife, not man. East of the Campholz, a road bordered by shrubs and trees follows a straight southeast angle. It then bends straight east, crossing the Borg Munzingen Road, then southeast again. This is what remains of the former Dragon's Teeth, or Hocker Hindernisse, as they are called in German. They zigzag to a point south of Oberleuken, then southeast again, and into the next forest, the Saarburg forest, between Oberleuken and Orscholz on the Saar River. It is north of the road from Oberleuken to Orscholz that an extensive German trench system can be found, connecting to several German shelter positions.
And as you can see, I am going through what actually undeep communication trenches. They're zigzagging, and I'm looking for the positions that were north of the road that went from Sins to Orscholz.
Several lines of trenches are still fairly deep, zigzagging through the woods. When the 301st Infantry attacked from their positions im Obertunsdorf, they had no idea of these positions, nor the strength of the troops defending them. It was only after the failed attack on Orscholz that U.S. prisoners of war understood what they had been up against.
You can see this is really a good example of how these trenches zigzagged through the forest from one position to another. Here comes another steep bend.
Combining German maps from World War II with field research, the extent and depth of the trench system in this area becomes clear. The dots in the map represent shelter bunkers, while the red lines represent fighting and communication trenches. Through the use of communication trenches, the fighting trenches up front are connected to personnel shelter bunkers further to the rear. Sometimes, these shelter bunkers were relatively modest wooden underground constructions. Here, however, they were built in concrete, offering much more protection against artillery fire.
So this is what seems to be a shelter bunker, but it's built up of corrugated steel, metal, with thick layers of concrete on top of it.
These are bunkers of the so-called Heinrich type. Corrugated arched metal plates are covered by layers of earth, steel beams, and concrete to make them virtually indestructible. The remains of these shelters can be seen in many places in this part of the woods. Emergency exits allowed personnel to escape in the event the entrance to the bunker itself was blocked. Filled with fine sand or pebbles and covered by a concrete lid, these concrete vertical corridors could be cleared from the inside of the bunker. Opening a small steel door inside the bunker room allowed the trapped personnel to dig themselves out by moving the pebbles or sand into the bunker room itself, thereby clearing the emergency exit from the bottom up.
And here, a little distance from the first one, is the second shelter bunker. Same construction, though the corrugated steel is gone.
After the 94th Infantry Division took the town of Orscholz late February 1945 by bypassing these formidable defensive positions and attacking them from the rear, all bunkers were blown by engineers, leaving massive chunks of concrete and twisted metal roofing material that still litter the forest floor today.
Here comes another one, fourth I see this afternoon. Again demolished like the rest.
From these shelter positions, the trenches running out of them connect to fighting trenches and small fighting positions near the road, from where a defender would have had a perfect view of advancing troops.
As you can see, the road is just up ahead. So very near to the German trenches I found a V-shaped hole, and first I didn't make much of it, but then I encountered more, so I'm adding them to my list of stuff, walking back a bit and into the trench, and we'll map the others too, because it might be something. Here's an elaborate position, I think, one of the defensive lines just north of the road, where you could enter the trench system and come across a couple of fighting positions and shelters. So I walked further to the west, and I'm coming at what is called the Bärenfels, which is a rock.
The main Strongpoint in the woods is an area on some rocky outcrops, some 20 feet above the forest floor.
And the trench just continues uphill. As you can see, it just goes uphill. There's all kinds of metal lying on the ground. And climbing up here, I have changed my backpack for a lighter bag I'm carrying, but so here I am. You see it crosses over. And there's another shelter. I'm wondering what it would have looked like back in 1945. There's a barbed wire fence, but that's a recent addition to prevent people from falling in. So I'm following what looks like the way down. I'm not sure if it is. It's a bit of a guess what this would have. I'm going to just go up. As you can see, it's rather high, not too high, but it's this is a great vantage point from which you and defend this area. Okay, so I'm walking down again toward the demolished bunker, shelter bunker.
Behind them are several more Heinrich positions, serving as a command post for the German troops occupying these woods late January 1945. Here, some of the trenches are lined with stones, and they were probably log-covered in 1945.
There you can see the entrance. This one is in good shape, considering it was blown up.
The construction of the concrete shelter bunkers themselves is simple, yet highly effective, and it would have taken more than one direct hit by artillery to destroy them.
Here you can see how it was constructed with a 45-degree angle roof, and then a corrugated metal roofing that is used. These are two positions, and there's the beam.
Here, a close-up of the Heinrich construction can be seen. The corrugated arched metal plates are connected to each other. A beam connects both halves of the arch at the top of it. Alignment is achieved by using bulges and indentations. The back wall is solid poured concrete, and hooks from which bunks were hung are still visible.
So this is actually two of them next to each other.
Here, the collapsed entrance can be seen, with pipes for air ventilation and a chimney.
And, well, I'm not really sure where it goes from here. This might be the end of the position. Now here's something that looks like it's man-made, so I'm gonna follow that one. So I'm turning around. Here's the bunker, and that's the spot where I came down. Now I went up again following this path. Yeah, this is definitely man-made. So this is a pretty big German fortification. Here you can see it starting to zigzag again. It's going uphill. It's all stone walls, just following the stone pathway. So I'm going to well, continue my way up and see if I can catch up with the trench system at the other side of the hill. Whoa, 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 look at that. Look at that shape. That's another one.
Walking in these woods, mapping these trenches, bunkers, and other apparent features from World War II still present, using sophisticated GPS equipment, takes hours.
So there's the corrugated steel or metal between the road and a trench system just north of the road. There is what seems to be an irrigation ditch. Trench is somewhere to the north. I think I can see it just a couple of trees away.
Eventually, the geographical image resulting from efforts like these contributes significantly to understanding the tactical situation at the time the 301st Infantry advanced on Orscholz, and help understand why they did not succeed in taking the town itself.
I am getting dead tired of walking through all these trenches, but it's really satisfactory mapping them. I've done a great deal of this complex. I'm now just north of the anti-tank ditch. So this is the place where US troops from the 301st came into the forest somewhere. So the holes I'm seeing here might very well be American holes.